Hello, everybody. Today I'm coming to you with the ugly truth about our healthcare system and how astrology was able to help me throughout the process of a lot of the medical issues that I have had to work through since I was a little girl. Started off 3 years old, had my tonsils removed, and then I was 12 years old, had my spleen and appendix removed. And then at 26, I had my uterus removed. 22, had my gallbladder removed. And it goes on and on and on and on, okay? And so one thing that I can say after looking at my own chart is all the placements of my planets. I have 6 placements in Virgo. I have Mars in Cancer. And with that said, I have had to deal with a lot of health issues. Mars in Cancer is surgery on the stomach, in the stomach area, okay? And so any of you who have that placement with Mars in Cancer, it could also be the breasts, it could be the stomach, but usually there's a lot of scarring there, okay? Now, with that said, I have a lot of Virgo in my chart, which Virgo is the ruler of our health industry, okay? And so I have 6 placements there. North Node there, Saturn, Venus, Mercury, Black Moon Lilith, the Sun, the list goes on and on, okay? So growing up, I didn't know anything except for to trust our healthcare system. And I blindly was led through that, okay? Well, in the last few years, since Saturn started transiting my 6th house of health, Saturn will create some type of a catastrophe in your health, and it will take you about 3 years to clean it up if it's not already too late. So 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with a cyst on my thyroid. And following that, I ended up having 15 to 30 cysts between both breasts. And I went to the doctor and they were like, okay, you have cysts. Have a good one. And they basically just booted me out. With the breasts, they told me that I could come back in and get them drained, but it was probably going to be a painful process and that they weren't going to be able to do anything other than just drain them, but they'll probably just come back. So for the last 3 years, I've been on this journey of self-discovery and figuring out how to heal myself, regardless of what these doctors are telling me and that I have to be sick for the rest of my life. And that possibly I'm going to end up with cancer. And so when you Google it, it says, have them removed, have your thyroid removed. When you Google, how to get rid of cysts on the thyroid, it immediately goes to surgery. Doctors are only taught how to cut out the inflammation. They're not actually taught how to cure it. And they don't look at what the cause is because they're not looking at your diet. They're not looking at the astrology. And back in the olden days, they used to be able to look at that. And I feel like every doctor on this planet should be versed in astrology, be versed in a person's chart so that they are able to see the things that are unrecognizable through the naked eye and through a college. The one thing that I've realized about the doctors, because of my long history, I'm 43 years old, of health issues that I have had to sustain, is they're not taught dietary. They're taught how to cut out inflammation, but they're not actually taught, well, if you eat this, this could create this, and then there's this, and then it'll have this effect. They've taken iodine out of our salt. They have taken trace minerals because of the dirt being poisoned. We have no more trace minerals, no more copper, no more anything in our diet. So throughout the last 3 years, I have literally had to go on this journey of figuring out how to heal myself and talk to anybody that would listen. I had acne really bad on my face. I had mercury put in my teeth when I was a little girl, and I still have it, which I'm on the process of getting rid of all of it. Mercury depletes your B1. That's something that they don't talk about, but yet they put all this poison in you, and then you just go and live your life, and you don't realize that it creates all these other issues, Alzheimer's, dementia, lack of B1, lack of D3, and that in turn is going to create mental health issues and so on and so forth. It's the domino effect. So as I went on to this journey, I took off from Hawaii for about 3 months and I went off into Texas. And in Texas, I was guided by Spirit to step into a health food store. And I asked Spirit, I said, okay, why am I here? And I closed my eyes and I turned and I looked. And as I looked over, this one little bottle caught my attention. And it was iodine, sitting there all by itself, one bottle, and there's thousands of all these other vitamins, but there happened to be a gap between that bottle and everything else. So I walked over, I picked it up, and I looked at the bottle, and it said iodine. And I'm like, okay, Spirit, why do I need iodine? And so I started doing my own research, and it says, do you have, hyperthyroidism? Do you have fibrocystic breasts? Do you have? And I'm like, oh my God, all of the above. So I grabbed that bottle and I started taking it immediately. Within 4 days, I was able to feel, doing my own breast exams, that my breast tissue was not as dense as it was, and the cysts that were measured at 3 centimeters were now down to nothing. So as of 3 days ago, I went in and had a mammogram done, and that mammogram came out that my cysts have all but disappeared. I had an ultrasound done 2 weeks prior to that on my thyroid and found that the cyst that was there was gone completely. There's not even any remnants of anything ever even being there. And it was all because I went on this journey and I found this one little bottle. And really all the doctors could have told me was, hey girl, eat some more salt, with iodine in it, put that back in. But see, we've been taught we need less sodium. We need to cut that out of our diets. And I know for my generation, we've been taking salt out. So we're eating Mediterranean, we're eating Himalayan salts, but all of those are missing one ingredient, iodine. Iodine was what I grew up on. And if you do your research in Japan, they have the lowest levels of breast cancer, colon cancer, prostate cancer. Why do you think that is? In the US, if you were to Google right now, how much iodine should we be taking in a day? It'll tell you a measly little 150 micrograms of iodine, which is the absolute bare minimum. But in Japan, they're taking 10 times more than that every single day. You think that that's why they have the lowest level of cancers and tumors? I do. And it took me going on this journey to figuring that out. Another thing, as I had my gallbladder removed when I was 22 years old, okay, so 19 years ago, I started getting neck and shoulder issues. And anybody who's been following me for a really long time, at the beginning of this channel, I was getting epidurals in my neck and shoulder. And I would go in every month and a half and have to have these epidurals put in because I had gone 2 years of needing to go to physical therapy, never missed a day, went from going from 1 day a week to 3 days a week. And it was only getting worse and worse and worse in those 2 years that I was seeing a physical therapist. And so it finally got to the point where I had no other choice because of the job that I do. I can't be medicated. I can't be taking all these, barbiturates, okay, that, take away from my mental ability to even be able to get messages across. And I had almost come to the reservation that this is it. Like, I'm disabled and there's nothing after this. And so anyway, again, I started doing my research and started talking to other people and going in for acupuncture, going in for gua sha, which is like myofascial work, and started getting in on that. And then one of them mentioned my gallbladder. And I really didn't think too much of it because how could a gallbladder be linked to my neck and shoulder? Unbeknownst to me, it was. So this entire time, I'm thinking that I have this horrible neck and shoulder issue. I had 3 surgeons looking down the knife at me, and all I needed was bile salts. Why is that? Because the gallbladder is there, and it helps secrete bile salts in order to help down carbohydrates, in order to help you break down all the foods and stuff that you're eating. And without having those biles, your liver and pancreas are working overtime to try and process everything that's going through. And because of that, it's connected to that right shoulder and the right side of my neck. So I started taking bile salts. I've been taking them now for about 3 months. And it is literally the absolute best thing that could have ever happened to me. I feel better now. I have more mental clarity. And it was all because of the gut. I've had 7 surgeries in my lifetime. And every time I've gone in for a surgery, they're like, okay, goodbye. It's like a drive-through. Have a good day. But there's no aftercare. Nobody ever takes the time to sit down with you and say, hey, listen, because you're missing this organ, it's going to put a lot more pressure on your other organs. It's going to put a lot more pressure on your body. And with that said, it's made me sicker and sicker and sicker throughout my life. Now, if it wasn't for me having the willpower, unlike so many other people who just resolve to the fact that they are now disabled, they resolve to the fact that they're just sick. You're not sick. And what I would suggest is not to allow yourself to be defined by whatever illness that they're telling you that you may have. Research. Talk to other people. Look at other ways. Because if you look at Stanford, Harvard, all of these medical schools, none of them are taught the key ingredient to helping you heal. Diet, exercise, less stress. Those are 3 major components to cancer, to your organs being removed. Inflammation in the body. There's a science, they say it's all about the science, trust the science. Yet how is that so easily to be trusted when after the last 3 years, we've seen what the science has done? And I don't care if you're on the side of you know what or not. I don't trust it so blindly anymore. And that was what my mission here on this earth was to do, is to blow holes in what they've been doing, and all based off of my own health. And my health went to shit right from the beginning. But because of that, I went on this journey so that I could help other people that have been in the same situation that I'm in. Ask them, well, is there anything that I should cut out of my diet? And they won't tell you anything. I asked my physician, or my healthcare physician recently. She said, oh, you're pre-diabetic, which is hilarious. How am I pre-diabetic when I eat really healthy? But she says, you're pre-diabetic. And I said, okay, well, is there any other things that you can suggest that I'm not already doing? And she bypassed the question. She didn't even answer. She just said, let me know if there's anything else that you need to take care of. And I'm just completely floored by, why can't you tell me that? When I talked to my other doctor about everything that was going on, he dropped me as a patient because I asked questions. You have rights. But unfortunately, it's gotten to the point where we now have to do our own research to find out what's going on in our lives and not trust so blindly. Everybody goes, oh, well, I have a really nice doctor. Really, do they? Is the one and only thing that they're doing is prescribing you medications? They could be nice as fuck to you. But are they only prescribing you medication? Or are they giving you alternative methods and things that you can do on top of it? Because I'm not saying that I don't trust the healthcare system entirely. I do utilize them, but I utilize them in tandem with the research that I've done and trying naturopathy and using vitamins and minerals to help myself, because all of that medication that they're prescribing you is just a Band-Aid, but it's not actually helping you. So for those of you who have diabetes, all they say is, here, take your insulin. And then they raise the price of it. But they don't actually say, hey, you need to cut carbs out of your diet. Maybe you should take breads out. No, they come up with these ketogenic garbage diets, right? I'm not saying that all keto is garbage, but you see all the breads and you see all these things that they're selling and they're telling you you can eat bacon all day and cheese. No, you can't. You need to eat organically. Organic. But you're still going to have to add trace minerals to your diet. Because unfortunately, the soil that organic food is being grown from doesn't have the trace minerals like it did when I was a kid. There's been so much poison on top of our dirt. And look at Ohio right now, what they're going through. They had major crops that were literally just poisoned. And if you look at actually what Ohio brings, this is not some small thing. This is your food supply. They carried out a lot of our farmland. They had a lot of our chickens. Do you think that they're going to stop selling those eggs? Absolutely not. Now, the people of Ohio know better. But do you think that the higher ups, they're going to tell you where you're getting your stuff from? With Uranus and Taurus, this is a time where we really need to start looking at our health. We need to start looking at the foods that we're eating. We need to start not so blindly believing that they're here to help you. You need to start talking to your local farmers, and if you're a meat eater, going in on half of a cow that is organic, that you know what it's eating, where it's not getting all the antibiotics, half of our milk. And this is all stuff that you can look up. But this is all the stuff that I have literally had to go through in my life because I was sick. And look at all the stuff I was able to accomplish being ill. And look at all the stuff that I can accomplish now because I have helped myself, regardless of what these doctors have not done for me. They put mercury in my mouth. And here's the funnier part. Where do you see when they finally came out through the CDC that was actually poison and that shouldn't have been put in our mouths? Do you think that I got a memo from them saying, hey, by the way, we figured out that this has really bad effects on the brain? No, my grinding has been so bad. I've been lockjaw this entire time. And why is that? Because the mercury's crushed in my mouth. And then when you go to the dentist, they try to bypass it and they're like, oh yeah, unless you got a really honest one, which I found finally after all these years that is like, actually, Peace, you're absolutely correct. That stuff is poison and you should have had it taken out of your mouth a long time ago. This has been sitting here since I was 15. And then you look at how your teeth, okay, how your teeth are connected to every single organ in your body. And that is not something that they talk about. And don't you think that it's kind of funny that dentists and doctors, they don't talk about that. They don't even converse. And they should. If you've got bad, rotten back teeth and they're filling them full of amalgam, you're probably going to lose your spleen. You're probably going to have heart issues. But they're not going to tell you that. That's stuff that I had to research all on my own. And here's the deal. Every single thing that I'm telling you, you can go and research right now. Look up Dr. Berg. I absolutely love him. Just found him a couple of months ago after I already started doing my research and finding everything. And he has over 10 million followers. Why do you think that is? I'm surprised he hasn't been shut down yet because he's speaking truth. I'm surprised he hasn't been censored yet because he's giving people an alternative. Unfortunately, I didn't find him up until a couple of months ago, but fortunately, he's validated every single thing that I have had to research on my own. I got told by a doctor that I had, because of the acne, and I'm sure if you go back in my videos, you can see that I had major cystic acne. And my doctor told me, that's a hormone issue. That's an elective. We don't cover that. So I had to fly to Montana. And I had to find a doctor that would actually help me with my hormone issues because I had an overproduction of testosterone. Why is that? Because I had stress. Why did I have stress? Because I have all these body parts that are missing and I have all these other things that are going on in my life. I'm overstimulated, just like all of us are, which being overstimulated like we are, we're mentally overstimulated. And therefore, what is that going to create? Stress and disease. Stress is the leading cause of death. It causes suicide. It causes cancers, tumors. If we have stress in the body, it creates sickness. And that's exactly how this is panned out for all of us. The sicker that you are, they supposedly have the cure. But do they? I don't think so. Because the cure is your food. The cure is vitamins. Unfortunately, they don't push that enough. And not the vitamins that you go down to Walmart and you go pick up. You go to the actual company. You go to the company that actually sources their vitamins. The ones that you're finding at Walmart and at these grocery stores, they're cut. They're not full vitamins. The gummies that everybody likes to chew on, that's not full vitamins. That's not how this works. But you think you're doing good for yourself. No, you need to go to the source. Because a lot of those vitamins are just cut. They have garbage in them. So you're not actually getting the full amount of what you need. And unless you're willing to talk to somebody who's actually well-versed in vitamins, going down to the grocery store isn't going to help you. Picking up a multivitamin isn't going to help you. You're not getting what you need. And it's really important that you do. And it's really important that you take your health back. For those of you who are sick, for those of you who have been diagnosed with all these different things, okay, bipolar, probably have a lot to do with your food. Are you eating red dyes? Your kids who have been diagnosed ADHD and ADD, still giving them soda? Because guess what? It's a proven fact that these soda companies, like Coca-Cola, are actually paying off the FDA to say that it's okay for your fucking 10-year-old to be drinking that garbage. But it's poison. Why do you think that diabetes is so rampant in all of these children nowadays? Now they want to put them on medication. And medication that they have to take for the rest of their lives. And if they get off this medication, there is going to be grave danger to these children, including yourself. Because you believed so blindly in a pharmaceutical drug that was actually made to harm you. It's time you start doing your own research. It's time that you start opening your eyes and seeing what's really going on here. And if it wasn't for a lifetime of me having to do research and figuring out why, I do everything as healthy as I can. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I eat pretty healthy. But unfortunately, you look at the foods that are here in the United States compared to other countries, they have like 3 ingredients. Ours has 50 that you can't even pronounce. Let's put it this way. From now on, when you pick up a package at the grocery store and you're planning on buying that because it's convenient, look at the ingredients. And if you can't pronounce over half of them, ask yourself, should I be giving this to myself, let alone my own children? Because your kids are going to learn your diet. And if you have a diet because it's convenient and you don't like to cook for yourself, that's where you're poisoning your children and you. With Uranus and Taurus, we are going back to growing our own fruits and vegetables, not relying so much on other countries to ship in our foods. How about start eating according to the seasons? If fruits are not in season, why are you still able to get them? Have you ever questioned that? I have. How can you get strawberries year-round when they usually only come out at certain times of the year? Grown in a lab much? Think that's healthier? You need to know where your source of food is coming from. You need to start questioning what you're putting in your body. Stop following so blindly all these healthcare professionals And they don't mean to do it. It's what the government says that they're allowed to learn. So a lot of these doctors who go off of script, they're losing their jobs. Why do you think Hillary Clinton put in place that they have to now, everything has to be on a computer? Because where we're headed, if we're not careful, is for them deciding on whether you live or you die. And if you haven't noticed, unless you've got a lot of money, they don't care about you. You're getting the bare minimum treatment because you can't afford it. Well, here's what you can afford. You can afford to take your life into your own hands. You can afford to start doing your own research. You can afford to start buying more fruits and vegetables or getting in with a local farm and eating directly from their farm in your own community. Not going outside, not going to the grocery store and buying what's a little cheaper. Yes, it's going to cost you a little bit more. But if you go out and get your own seeds, organic seeds, not this other stuff that's been put Miracle Grow in it, and it's guaranteed to give you carrots that are this big. Carrots are not this big. Look at your apples. Why do you think apples can sit around for so long? Did you know if you actually boil your apples, all that plastic stuff that's on the outside comes off and you'll see like a film in your water? For those of you who are buying apples, why are they so glossy? Bigger is not always better. We are going to have to eat more organically. We are going to have to start taking our lives into our own hands. We are going to have to start really questioning our healthcare systems. And if you want to live longer, you better start now. I am not a doctor. I am not prescribing anything. I am sharing with you what I have been through in my life and what I have started doing on my own that has worked tremendously in helping me heal. For those of you who want, I would definitely check out Dr. Berg, B-E-R-G, here on YouTube. He is absolutely amazing. And I'll be probably posting this to my Rumble because it might get me in trouble and get me censored because of what I'm saying here today, and they want censorship. But I am being real, I am being raw, and I am telling you exactly what I've been going through my entire life. The acne, as you can see, is now gone. I'm just cleaning up the remnants. The thyroid, the cyst there is gone. No thanks to the doctors. And the cysts in my breasts have dissolved. And I'm very fortunate that I didn't end up with breast cancer like so many other people who were not told. So if you are going through those issues and you are recognizing that you don't have enough iodine in your system, I cannot thank Spirit enough for pointing me in that direction. I cannot thank Spirit enough for pointing me in the direction for those of you who have no gallbladder or have a sluggish gallbladder, for pointing me in the direction of bile salts. Western medicine is not always the best, but if you are using it in tandem with homeopathy and taking your natural vitamins, which is not something they're versed in, just like the diet, research. That is my advice for you. And I'm only here telling you guys this because you're not collateral damage to me. I care very much. And this is a passion of mine because of everything that I had to experience. And at one time, I was the student, and now I will become the teacher. So how I've overcome my health issues is doing my own research and not following so blindly like I was taught by my mom and dad that you're supposed to trust the healthcare systems. And if the last 3 years hasn't taught you anything, you can't. No, regardless of how nice your doctor is, if they're not talking to you about your diet and they are not pushing natural remedies, which we all know that they're not allowed to, then is that really the doctor for you? Do your own research. And that is the ugly truth about our healthcare system. I love you guys all so much. If you guys know how I had a chance, check out Jogén Hummingbird. I will be running a Tarot 101 course on March 11th. I hope you'll sign up over on my website. Also on March 18th, I will be running another workshop, zodiac signs and house placements. Okay. You guys, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all your support. And just know that I love you all so very much. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me personally. Love you. Take care.